When you genuinely care about the people on your team, when you are focused on building all of them up, all ships rise with the tide. You yourself are going to level up in that process. But that's how you create high-performing teams. That's how you create cultures of performance. How is it going, ladies and gentlemen? This is Sean Barnes. I want to welcome you back to The Way of the Wolf. On the show today, I'm going to be talking through 5 things that I have learned over the years that make bosses great. It is taking me a very long time to figure these things out, and this is really just what has worked well for me. Some of it might resonate with you, some of it might not. That's okay. This entire journey is about you figuring out how to build your leadership style and brand and what resonates with you. Because ultimately, we have to stay true to ourselves while we go down this leadership journey. That being said, the first thing that I want to start off with is while you are leading a team of people, that team is comprised of individuals. You have to lead each person in the way that they need to be led. In order to do that, we have to start building relationships with each member of the team. We have to understand what motivates, what drives Jason. Why is Sally here? What are the things that she is wanting to accomplish? When you have a relationship, when you have trust, when you have the ability to just have candid conversations with the people on your team, it makes it significantly more easy for you to guide the direction of the team. This nuanced approach is very important. When you are building a team or guiding a team in any given direction, you have to make sure that every single person is in their right seat on the bus and that the bus is moving in the right direction. In order to do that, you have to lead each person in a way that they need to be led. This is a beautiful segue into the second talking point, and that is go big on meaning. Each person on the team is going to be at your company for a specific reason, or hopefully a multitude of reasons. But when you understand what's important to each member of your team, and you create a direction, a mission, a purpose that they can all rally behind and start moving in that direction, it creates a tremendous amount of momentum. As a business owner, as a team leader, as a manager, you want your team moving in the same direction. That is what's most important. You can't successfully lead a team if you're struggling with herding cats. If these cats are running all over the place, it makes it very difficult for you to actually move the needle in a significant and or meaningful way. The next thing I want to touch on is feedback and how important feedback is. And it is important that that feedback goes both ways. As a leader, you want to feel comfortable in providing feedback to the people on your team. What are the things that they're doing good? What are the things that they need to focus on improving? When you go down the path of what they need to focus on improving, you cannot come in with a hammer and anvil approach of, you suck. Stick to the facts. Hey, we had this project. You missed the deadline on it. What happened? Okay, how do we prevent that from happening again in the future? You cannot come in and say, hey, you missed the deadline on this project, you suck. So there's some nuances there that are obviously worth noting. Now, in terms of the employee providing feedback to the manager, I want to share a little bit of a story. Many years ago, I reported to somebody that struggled to control his temper, I think is probably the best way for me to put it. And at one point, I sat down with him in his office and said, hey, it might be worth not yelling at the people on the team. If they make a mistake, can we lean more into just having a conversation? Because what's happening is people across all of these teams are afraid of you. And he looked at me and said, they should be afraid. Got it. Check. Okay. So that right there gives you a sense of where some leaders' heads are at. And I really shouldn't use the term leader in that situation, but I was doing my part in trying to lead up and have that conversation, but not all leaders are actually receptive to feedback. And that's a conversation for another day. The story here that I really want to kind of nail home is how important it is for that feedback loop to go both ways. Leaders should feel comfortable providing feedback to the employee, and you should have a strong enough relationship with enough trust where the employees can provide feedback to the manager or supervisor. Number 4 is a big one. We as humans communicate all day, every day, for almost the entirety of our lives. However, we really suck at it. And this is challenging because a lot of times we view things through this lens of how we operate and assume that everybody else is going to receive our messaging in the same way. This goes back to the conversation around leading people the way that they need to be led and understanding some people just need you to be blunt and direct. This is how it is. Other people are going to need you to soften it up a little bit, maybe throw in some unicorns and rainbows and excitement and things like that for them to get on board. But you have to communicate very clearly with everybody on the team. And sometimes it might feel like you are just beating your head against a wall, repeating yourself over and over and over. But what you will recognize and what you will learn over time is that each conversation you're having, there's slight changes in pitch and tonality and variations that resonate with specific people on the team. And as leaders, we have to be a chameleon. We have to adapt to the people on our team to ensure that they understand what we are saying. When you have new people on your team, it is okay to ask them, does that make sense? Do you have any questions? Share your perspective on this. When you ask the question of, can you share your perspective, it allows you to have a little bit of time to ask or to understand where their head is at and determine, did they really understand what I was saying to them? So a few little things that are very important, but really what it comes down to, clear, effective communication, making sure that the people on your team understand where your head is at and the direction that they are all moving in. The 5th thing, listen. 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 Listen to understand, not just respond. We have all had conversations with a boss, peer, colleague, friend, where we are talking through something and you can tell they are not trying to understand what you are saying. They're just chomping at the bit, waiting for you to stop talking so that they can inject their thoughts and ideas into the conversation. As a leader, if you take that approach, the people on your team are eventually just going to stop talking. They're just going to start operating with this mindset of, well, Sean's going to tell me what to do. Well, Sean's going to tell me what to do. He doesn't care what I think. There is a balance here because as a leader, you have to provide guidance and direction, but it is important to make sure that flow of communication goes back and forth, and that when they are talking, that you are actually listening to understand. One thing, while not officially on the list, that I think is an item of note, the strongest leaders, the best leaders out there, they genuinely care about the people on their team. If they are in a leadership role and it's always about me, look at my bonus, look at my salary, look at what I accomplished, you might achieve some short-term results or little sprints of results, but it's not going to work out well for you in the long run. Because when you start doing that, you are unintentionally building this culture where everybody knows, oh, well, just look at Sean, Mr. Big Shot. And they do just enough to not get fired. They do just enough to not get in trouble. When you genuinely care about the people on your team, when you are focused on building all of them up, all ships rise with the tide. You yourself are going to level up in that process. But that's how you create high-performing teams. That's how you create cultures of performance. Think about in your life the strongest leaders that you've ever worked with or worked for. I'm willing to bet that they genuinely cared about you. That is the biggest thing that I want to leave all of you with. Make sure that you're doing it for the right reasons. All right, quick summary for all of these. Managing individuals, not an entire team. Give meaning to the work that they are doing. Providing feedback, clear communication, and listening. These things, if you figure out a way to incorporate just a few of them into your leadership style, you're going to start seeing some pretty impressive results. And it might not happen immediately, but if you do it on a long enough time horizon, you will start to see the results that you are looking for. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is all we have for the show today. Thank you so much, and y'all have a good one.